in that season of deception. And Brad Holmes is going to say a lot of things to maybe throw out, like, well, we don't have to take a tackle. We don't have to take an edge. And he's shown that they don't necessarily have to take an edge. Like that's been his track record. In regards to how he's framing all these things, when it's ultimately said and done, if Mendoza's there at 17, he's not taking Mendoza.
You're getting hung up. I'm just saying it to make the point that there is room to take a position that you need as opposed to a position you don't need. And I just want to present it that way because I think there is an urgent need at tackle and edge. Larry Borum, if he's your starter week 1, how do you feel about it, John?
I'm not excited about it.
If DJ Wonnum is the starting edge and you don't have a competent group around him to rotate in, how do you feel about the defense?
Again, I'm not excited about the position.
So how do you address it? Because we've done this. Free agencies, wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 are done. The impact guys you're going to add for next season would have to be on day 1 and day 2 of the draft. You have 2 picks in the top 50. If you're not interested in taking those positions because you've got better football players who can ride the bench, that's certainly a strategy after you finish last in the division. I don't agree with that philosophy. Look, year 1, you inherit a bad roster. You could take whatever the hell you want, right? You need every position 2 times over. And when you get 5 years in and you got a couple hot buttons, you got to address them. You can't. They've gone 3 years without taking an edge in the top 100 picks. If you want to get back to being the team that dictates tempo and dictates possession, you have to fix your offensive line.
All right, man. Let's talk about it, man. I agree with the other guy, the guy that was, I don't know his name, sorry. But I think it's imperative that the Detroit Lions go out there and address tackle and edge. And the only real thing you can really think about post-draft is this small rumor going out there around Cleveland that they may get rid of Myles Garrett, and obviously it's going to take some cap manipulation and all. We know that's not going to happen, just throwing it out there. Or some veteran get cut, but if he get cut, is he really going to be that much of a help to you, So, check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. I agree with everything the second guy was saying. And he went to the extreme, the first guy talking about getting Mendoza. He went to that extreme and all that type of stuff. And that's extreme, in my opinion, very extreme. But falling to 17. But yeah, I mean, you can't play with Jared Goff. You can't play with Jared Goff. He need protection. And if you got an opportunity, and this is just my train of thought, to get a left tackle, even if you want to move Sewell to left and play him at right, you want the best left tackle you can find. You want the best left tackle. You don't want a guy like from Miami, or he's a tackle or he's a guard. In my opinion, my train of thought, if I'm in position to get a guy, I want him to be the best tackle he can be. Flat out. If he, I want him to be the best all around. If I got a chance to get a guy that's a very, very, really good left tackle, he could run, block, and do all these things, I just want the best tackle prospect possible. Rather than you get a tweener from Miami, and tweeners is where it get nasty at between guard and tackle. That's where it get filthy at. When you starting to talk about the tweeners between guard and tackle, that's when they get nasty. Because, that's when, they just, was he tackle, he a guard? In my conventional thought, I'm putting him at guard. But edge, I mean, there may be some hope where you can take you either or. You can take an edge, and it's probably gonna be a good tackle in the second round where you may have to move up and get him, or it should be a good one. You get a guard, you get a tackle in the first round. It's probably gonna be some good edge, especially with the rumor of the Bang guy moving down draft boards because of his arm length. But the second guy was definitely on point. I think you in a position where it's imperative that you get a tackle. It's imperative that you get an edge rusher. You haven't been able to address it through Marcus Davenport. Shout out to Lion Syndicate. That Davenport shirt was fire, bro. I seen that. That shit was fire. You haven't, through Marcus Davenport, Josh Pascal, playing Levi Onwuzurike at big defensive end, you ain't been able to get Aiden Hutchinson, a competent guy at the other defensive end. And, Alquay Muhammad has been one of the more competent guys they got to play that position, but y'all haven't really got him a lot of help. And then Taylor Decker leaving, you always got in the back of your brain, if you don't get a tackle, we can just make amends with Taylor Decker. But at some point you got to turn the page on that chapter, and you got to move on with somebody newer and younger. And now, it's no point in continuing to shuffle this offensive line. Okay, we know Frank ain't coming back. Let's make sure Taylor ain't coming back, in some type of, big role, or, other than a small capacity. You want to be able to say, you know what, I got my future at tackle. I got my tackles I need for here and now. Shout out to Luther Vandross. I got my center of the future, and I got my two dogs at corner. And if the center don't work, I got a guy that we really like to play center, and we got a guy behind him who like to play center, and we got Larry Broom who can jump in and play tackle. Both my tackles can switch right to left if I need them to. We want to just set this offensive line in stone so we can just move forward. That's what you really want to do. You don't want to say, oh, I don't want to jump back in. Now, if we have some catastrophic injury where we need a guy to step in and play tackle, Taylor Decker can come in and do that in a capacity for a playoff run, for a small stretch. Same thing with center. But in reality, you want to turn the page. And the Cowboys had to do the same thing with their offensive line, whether it was Travis Frederick, whether it was moving on from Tyron Smith, moving on from Zach Martin. You know what I'm saying? They had to move on from those things, man. So they had to keep it moving and turn the page. And this is what happens with the offensive line. You got 5 guys there. It's going to be guys coming in and out, and you got to redo it again. But they can't play with the offensive line because your quarterback don't have no wiggle, jiggle, or no athletic ability. It's predicated on him getting time in. And also, you want to start that maturation process of them playing together. So these going to be your 5 with Frazier and Manu and Broom behind them. Cool. Let's build that camaraderie now. Edge wise, you still looking for it. You might need to take 1 or 2. I don't like nobody they got around them, to be honest. I don't know much about the Wanham kid, but he's just a guy. He a good backup, but you might need to walk around 1 or 2 edges in this draft. It's just a position that he ain't too keen on. So I don't think he can afford not to be keen on it. But I agree with the second guy, but they don't see it the way we see it. And I just think, a lot of people are going to have false optimism when the season come around, because that's what the NFL do, is sell false hope. I think a lot of people are going to have false optimism, but I think overall, people are not confident in the Lions right now. They're not confident ahead of this draft that he's going to have a competent draft. So, you still banking on, is Tesla going to step up and do his thing? Is J-Mo going to get on track? Is Terrion and Ennis Rackstraw going to... You still got questions on guys that in previous drafts, and some of them been paid. You still have questions about how they gonna fit in. But hit the link in the description and say find me everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, or Twitch, whatever, Twitter, X, whatever. Check out Detroit Lions Talk playlist. Let me know what you think. Comment section, Pete.